Today, Blackmagic announced the Pocket 6K G2, which is essentially the same body, same sensor as the Pocket 6K Pro, missing the internal NDs, but now for the price of $2,000. This G2 replaces the original Blackmagic Pocket 6K. I've been a Blackmagic Pocket 6K user for a few years now. I've had the 4K since it originally came out, and I have loved those cameras. The G2 is an interesting choice of an update from the original Pocket 6K and also kind of in the same category as the Pocket 6K Pro. I do understand why Blackmagic came out with this update, as a lot of people were not happy with the internal NDs that they chose on the Pocket 6K Pro. They saw there was a lot of color shift, and I think a lot of very professional users that use ND filters rather just use their own personal NDs than the internal NDs that were built into the 6K Pro. On the other side of that, I know a lot of documentary filmmakers who got rid of their very modular cameras to get the 6K Pro because of how friendly it is to run and gun filmmakers. So there's two sides to the equation, but now if you were interested in some of the features of the 6K Pro, well, the G2 does offer those features for $500 less. It's interesting how this release went because there's a $500 difference now between the G2 and the Pro, and essentially the $500 upgrade to the Pro gets you a slightly better screen and the internal NDs, whereas before it was $500 to upgrade from the original Pocket 6K to the Pro, which gave you the flip screen, it gave you the extra XLR port, it gave you the option to use the Sony MPF batteries over the Canon LPE6 batteries, and also the ability to mount an external EVF made by Blackmagic, which is very welcome to anybody who's doing run and gun filmmaking and needs that EVF to get proper exposure. I do really like this update. It makes sense from a design standpoint because Blackmagic didn't have to go redesign the wheel. They had the chassis for this body from the Pro, so they didn't have to make a brand new body. They were able to just take out some features and come out with the new version of the 6K. Now, I'm sure it's going to do well, but my opinion is I think Blackmagic did miss the boat a little bit on this G2 of the Pocket 6K. The reason I think Blackmagic missed the boat is a lot of Pocket users have been asking for a camera that is in a box, more modular format to the RED Komodo, the Z-Cams, and I know a lot of Z-Cam users who were frustrated with the codecs that Z-Cam offers and literally moved over back to Blackmagic just because of how great B-RAW is. Although I do think this new G2 camera is absolutely going to do really well. They are missing part of the larger market segment of professionals by not adding these modular cameras because the 6K sensor is great. It has great dynamic range, great features. If you're a 24p shooter, you get amazing features. If you need a little bit of slow-mo, you can shoot up to 6K 50. The Blackmagic 6K was a camera before its time, and in some ways it still is, offering 6K RAW here in 2022 for under $2,000. Now, when it comes to the original Pocket 6K, if you're happy with your Pocket 6K, I wouldn't necessarily say jump out and upgrade to this new 6K G2 because it is the same sensor and all of the same frame rate features. But if having the flip screen or EVF or even the XLRs, Sony batteries, if any of those really matter to your workflow, then yes, upgrading to the G2 may make a lot of sense. But if you rig out your Pocket 6K or you're really happy with your workflow with the original Pocket 6K, then I would say there's probably no reason to upgrade to this G2 if you're happy where you're at, because then you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do with your original 6K if you do plan on selling it. Speaking of selling 6Ks, I am interested to see how the used market reacts to this new G2. Until this year, it's been difficult to find good deals on used Pocket 6Ks. I've found them occasionally. They are starting to pop up more now, but with this G2, I'm interested to see where it goes because as of now, most of the websites still have the original Pocket 6K listed at $2,000, but obviously that's going to change with the G2 being listed at $2,000 as well. So we'll see how the used market reacts to this. Overall, the Blackmagic Pocket 6K G2 is a really welcome camera, and for $500 less than the $2,500 Pocket 6K Pro, getting most of the features from that Pro without the ND filters and everything I mentioned before, I think it is a great deal for anybody who's looking to get a Pocket 6K in that $2,000 arena. If you have any questions about the Pocket 6K G2, put them in the comments below. And if you got knowledge and value out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Till next time, my name's Geoff Fagien. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.